Welcome back, everyone. Today we are in much different times than we were during our last recording. In just a few short weeks, the COVID-19 crisis has claimed thousands of lives and turned the economy upside down. Warning, if you want further updates on how this crisis has negatively impacted us, you're wasting your time on this podcast. If, however, you want to find out how to lead through a crisis and take advantage of opportunities you may never see again, then stay tuned to hear from our mastermind, CEO of Stable Gold Hospitality, Ali Jamal. What advice do you have for investors that are seeing all this around us and thinking, no way, I'll just hold off until things are back to normal?
Look, most companies, if you look at their growth trajectory, the biggest leaps and bounds that they make are in times when they can acquire assets or acquire businesses or new business units for pennies on the dollar or at a lower cost compared to what they would pay in an inflationary market. From an opportunity perspective, all leaders, all managers, all business owners need to see that these type of shifts in the economy don't happen that often. And when you do get this window, you have to take full advantage of it. From a real estate perspective, very simply, you're just going to be looking for properties that are distressed and that are value add opportunities. Right now, you're not going to get as many deals because there's a lot of capital that's been injected into the economy by governments, but that's not going to be there forever. So after 3 or 4 months, you'll start seeing the real impact on the economy. And so there's going to be a lot of opportunities for investors to look at businesses or real estate assets that are underperforming.
What is Stable Gold Hospitality doing to better situate itself for the end of this crisis?
So Stable Gold is aggressively looking to invest in properties to acquire. We are aggressively looking in the stock market to acquire, stocks. We are aggressively looking to expand the business during these times. This is an opportunity for businesses who are cash strapped right now to look at all the government programs out there. There's the CARES Act in the United States. There's various programs in Canada and across the world where governments are trying to stimulate local economies. And there's opportunities for you to tap into that at the moment and really take advantage of some of these programs so you can keep your business afloat and potentially expand your business during these times. So let me be a little bit more specific in regards to that, because that sounds like a lot of fluff. So there's legislation out right now in the US that gives small business free funding, right? So like, let's say I have a payroll of $200,000 a month. They will give me 2.5 times that. It's called the CARES Act. The federal government is basically giving you $500,000 that's forgivable if you keep everyone hired. So if I don't fire anyone and I keep everyone hired, which I'm planning on doing anyways, that $500,000 the government gave us, we get to keep. We don't have to pay that back. There's so many positives around if you actually take the time to actively look for it, even though the hysteria surrounding us is negative.
If we wanted to diversify away from real estate, do you have any advice for like other avenues that people should be investigating or looking into right now?
Well, my first advice would be for them to question why they want to divest away from real estate, because real estate right now is the safest place you could put your money. I mean, it's a solid asset that you could probably pick up right now for pennies on the dollar. So I would question the reasoning for them wanting to diversify out of it, even if they're getting hit right now with tough rent situations, because I know a lot of tenants are not paying. But, there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel, and there's things that you can do like mitigate bank payments and things of that nature. There's diversification within real estate investing. I mean, if you're only investing in single family residential homes right now and you're getting hit on rents, well, this should be an eye opener. Maybe you should look at commercial investments. Maybe we should look at motel investing. Maybe you should look at multifamily apartment complexes where your risk is a little bit more spread. And then on a more macro level, as an investor, you might want to look at other areas of the market. Right now, you could pick up deals on the S&P 500 that you were never getting before. I mean, I think I saw yesterday that Delta Airlines is trading at $22. Earlier this year, they were trading at about $60. So that's a $40 gap of potential earnings you could have if the stock goes back in that direction, which I think it will after all of this is said and done.
Isn't it mind-blowing to think that just like a few weeks ago, we were both in such a different place, whereas now the whole world is in the middle of this crisis where the number of new cases are soaring every day, every hour. How are you dealing with that shock to the system as a CEO and a fund manager and somebody managing like 100 or more staff?
You can look at this situation as a leader and as a business owner as a horrible situation that is going to put you into bankruptcy potentially, or you're going to have to fire all your people, whatever the situation might be from a negative standpoint. Or you can look at it as an opportunity to grow, as an opportunity to learn, as an opportunity to shift your business to potentially come out of this situation stronger than you were before. For example, one thing that I've learned just in the last couple of weeks is how much more efficient I personally can be, and how much more accountable I can keep my managers by just having virtual meetings. I've been having more meetings right now virtually than I did in person just a few weeks ago. And I feel more connected with my staff than I did a few weeks ago. That's one thing. It's a growth opportunity. From a just straight leadership perspective, you want to maintain a calmness as well as a positive attitude, so your team members understand that this is something that is going to be a short-term blip with regards to the company's trajectory going into the future.
Well, I mean, the economy crashed overnight, literally. It's unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this. How do you stay positive? And on top of that, how do you motivate others to stay positive in that sort of a scenario?
The first thing you have to do is understand history. There has been economic cycles, things that have brought down economies in the short term, short to medium term, throughout history. In the 1920s, you had the flu pandemic. Then you had the Great Depression. You had world wars, etc., etc. We've had numerous recessions. And the reality is that all of those situations don't last forever. It's going to be painful during the time that you're going through the situation, of course, just like anything in life. There is going to be light at the end of the tunnel. It's all on how you are going to, what kind of paradigm you're going to have when looking at this situation.
Why do you think it's important to support your frontline staff, especially at a time like this?
The most important thing is to make sure that, you take care of your people. There's many ways in which you can do that. Of course, trying to keep your people employed if you can. Try to figure out what kind of government regulations or programs there are to help support your people. And your team is looking at you to help them get through this situation, which, for all intents and purposes, basically happened in a blink of an eye. The frontline staff are the backbone of the company, and they're the ones, as you just said, they're frontline. Owners, managers have the benefit of working virtually. Frontline staff doesn't have that benefit, and really they're heroes. They're the reasons why we can keep everyone else employed. They're the reason why we can continue to grow the business, and they're the reasons why we can provide affordable housing.
As someone who is constantly scoping the market and online and looking for the next best investment, have you even been doing that recently, like ever since all the pandemonium set in? And if you have, what are your general observations about the market? What have you been finding?
I think the market has not been fully hit yet. Because there's liquidity in the market that's been injected by federal governments, there's a lot of stimulus money out there right now. So I'd say in general, if you look at the stock market, the stock market's dropped significantly, right? You could pick up pretty good deals there right now. But if you think about it, once again, even the stock market has not been hit as hard as you would think. The whole world economy has basically stopped, as you said, overnight. And, yesterday there was a rally of 1,600 points on the Dow. I think in general, there's a lot of optimism in terms of what the business environment is going to look like after all of this is said and done.
Well, thank you so much for your time today and all the good advice. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about or any parting words of advice you wanted to give our listeners?
The last thing I would just say is, as Warren Buffett says, be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy. You have a very small window, so be aggressive and work at looking at investment opportunities that will change the dynamics of your business going into the future.